My name's Tim, you're watching Cybersport, and we're coming at you with the last match of the first day of Rift Rivals here in Berlin. And with me, I have Doublelift. Thank you very much for joining me, mate.
Oh yeah, my pleasure.
Right, I'm just kind of gonna jump straight into this now. You've obviously done fairly well today, and coming into this tournament, there was like a lot of anti-American sentiments, like the whole like, oh, Europe's going to do everything, Europe's going to step all over anything, and I mean, all of you really kind of put that to shame today. But before playing today, how did you feel going in? I mean, what did you expect?
Well, whenever the NA-EU rivalry is like pretty heated and like one side gets too cocky, then usually it is a huge upset. Like I remember in season 5, everyone was like, "Wow, EU is so bad. There's Alliance or maybe it was like season 4, but like there at some point the rivalry was like, haha, we're so much better." And then Worlds comes around and EU almost always, if not always, outperforms NA. And then it's like at this point, this is finally like a turning point where I think everyone's like, yeah, G2 they made it to the finals of MSI, and then EU is better than NA. And I kind of knew in the back of my mind from personal experience that if you talk shit, then you're probably gonna like end up eating your words more likely than not. So it's not really that surprising to me, actually.
Okay. Actually, that you gave me a perfect segue. I think I was going to get to this question a little later, but you kind of got into it. Speaking of like trash talking and doing this whole thing, there's a culture of it in NA to a larger extent than what we usually see in EU. And I mean, I know for a while, if you were asked like who's the best bot lane, you'd say you. But how do you feel about the whole bot lane synergy? Is there anything like, especially I'm thinking supports, and I'm going to make it easy for you. You can't actually say Biofrost, so you don't have to worry about that. But is there anything where you would say there's like a support player out there that you've noticed that you think like makes the difference between that bot lane?
Support player who makes the difference in bot lane. I want to say that. Wait, like just Rift Rivals? If we're talking strictly,
everything you get to say in general, mate.
Oh wow, I think Smoothie actually. Oh, he actually happens to be in Rift Rivals, but just regarding that, I think he does make a really big difference in his team. If you watch just how he plays, it's really unique. And like C9 has this like consistent mid-centric playstyle that everyone talks about, but I think Smoothie is the biggest impetus for that. Like he sacrifices a lot of his early game. And his timings are always just around mid lane. Anytime he has an opportunity to roam, he's just pressuring the enemy mid laner. And if the enemy mid laner like disrespects that or it plays too far up, then he's right there to kill him or blow their sums. So I mean, like Jensen's really good, but I think if you look at their games, Smoothie's always going flash for flash with the enemy mid laner. Anytime on Blitzcrank or Thresh he has flash up, he's gonna blow the enemy mid sums, and it just makes it so much easier. Like he sets up so much for that team.
Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of like down to the shot calling, obviously, and how he roams. You used to like take the burden of shot calling, whereas it seems like when you come back right now, it seems that Bjergsen and Hornser are still doing a lot of it. Is this like to ease you back in, or is it more like to actually allow you to focus on your lane for once?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. Like I got to focus so much more on my mechanical play, and so I'm not dying stupidly anymore. And like I was kind of known for just getting caught in the side lane and doing really questionable things in team fights, but I feel like lately I'm pretty confident to say like I don't do those mistakes as much anymore, and like part of that is just because I'm not as focused on the big picture. Those things are being done by other people, but I do step in when we need it, and like sometimes the team just needs someone to say like fucking start Baron or like let's engage like this. Like Kevin, you go here, and like Dennis, look for the flash engage right now, and like those sorts of things, I think everyone on a team should be able to do if you're playing at a high level.
Yeah.
Everyone on a top team should be able to shot call. I think that's a huge myth that like if you're on a sick-ass team, you're just going to have like one shot caller telling you what to do. If a good example I think of that is, random segue, is like KT. It's supposed to be a super team, but really what happens is they have two people talking all the time, and it's Mata and Smeb, and then there's no one else. Like those two people can't do everything for everyone. So
that was actually a very good point with the Telecom Wars fight that was on the other day. A lot of the talk was actually on the fact that for SKT and RT in general, you had this like rotation thing where anyone on the team could literally like change and alter their roles. Mm-hmm. And I've been seeing that a lot with you guys lately as well. I mean, we had a period where everything Bjergsen ever did was carry. Whereas now we're seeing a lot more like control mages, we're seeing a lot more things. So he might carry for a while, and then the ball gets passed over to like you or Hornser or whatever. like how much work goes into the synergy thing where you're all kind of realizing that you need to step up and like kick the ball?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's something that is really it struggles a lot for teams because they get comfortable and like for example, we could just play Syndra, LeBlanc, and Orianna and just like put Bjergsen on these super hardcore scaling OP champions for mid, but we put a lot of time into playing Galio mid. I put a lot of time into playing like Ashe and Jhin and Varus. And like these things traditionally, if we had the same mentality as we did last year, we wouldn't be doing that. And I think like it is really important because Hauntzer, he had a whole split where we just forced him to play tanks. And like, well, what if that's not the meta? You know, you go to Worlds and maybe it's like AP Cannon top and Gnar, and that was the case last Worlds. And it was like, well, we never like were able to pass the ball to Hauntzer when we should have been practicing that the whole year. So I think like right now we have a more healthy attitude towards that.
You actually said that in an interview with Travis recently, where you did like the reverse interview thing just after they were all unfortunately let go.
Oh yeah.
And you mentioned the fact that you're kind of trying to grow as a team instead of always just kind of focusing on winning. And not so much looking at that. Do you think franchising is the thing that has allowed you to kind of go that way? That you know it's coming now, it's going to hit, so you don't have to constantly go for the short-term win, or is this just like a natural evolution of the sport maturing?
I think only garbage teams would ever face relegation, anyways. Like the ones who are so bad that they would not only be at the bottom of LCS but then lose to a challenger team, and like they already made it so hard to get relegated. You have to lose 2 best of 5s to get relegated after already placing bottom 2. So, in my opinion, the whole like franchising thing doesn't affect me and probably 80% of LCS. But for the bottom teams, it kind of sucks for them. And yeah, we just did it because our goal is not to be in the LCS. Our goal is to win Worlds.
But that actually, I think that speaks volumes because you look at most NA teams. You talk to most NA teams and they say, well, like, what's your goal? What do you want to do? They just want to beat you guys. And you talk to you guys, and every time there's an interview now, it goes like, oh, we want to win Worlds. The focus is kind of different. So, but looking at that focus, looking at like the greater scale of things, how do you feel about tournaments like this? Because this has literally no impact on your like overall goal, and it's in the middle of your split, and you literally went from the NALCS to here, and you're going straight back. I mean, how much value do you guys put on a thing like this when your goal is clearly elsewhere?
Yeah, there is probably I don't know 40 or 50 hours sunk into the logistics of like traveling and setting up and the downtime of being here and the inconvenience. So, but the thing is that if we complain about coming to an international event, then we can't cry about the fact that there's not enough international events. And so like it's kind of got an upside and downside. I'd say I enjoy playing international events, and it sucks to travel due to the jet lag and the problems that come with like scheduling afterwards. But I don't know. I really like playing international tournaments, and I think it's good for TSM because we're super good, and it's important for us to get practice against other super good teams.
Super. One last question just to kind of finish it all up. We're obviously, everybody here is looking at that one matchup, Fnatic TSM. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what everybody's eyes are focused on right now. How do you feel that you kind of measure up? And obviously you're gonna. This is a jaded question, but if you're to be like as open as you can, what weakness do you think you have to overcome, and what weakness do you reckon you're probably going to try and exploit, without giving away like all your plans?
No, yeah. I think Fnatic has a really unique play style. They play so much around Rekkles. The last game I saw, he had all their kills, and the team played around him completely. But they're playing around a losing matchup. Like, he played Twitch and Caitlyn, and I think that is Fnatic in a nutshell. They pick Rekkles as hard carry champion. It's a shit matchup. He's just losing tower. He's losing dragons for his team, but he's still got an insane score line, and I don't know, their style is very different. And I think the thing that we have to overcome is the ability to, like, adapt in the game, because there'll be times where like I think when we play Fnatic, I'm going to predict that I group and I help my team either get an objective or get vision, and Rekkles is just pushing, he's just farming. And like I used to do that, so I know what his mentality is. It's like if my team can hang in there, then I'll get a farm advantage. But most of the time in this, like, when you're playing a really high level team, your team can't hang in there. They need you to be there, and they need you to not like give the enemy team a numbers advantage. So that's just the thing that we have to overcome. I feel like for us, our ability to adapt in a game or in a series or even like in a day has been pretty bad, and we just need to improve on that.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. For the rest of you, if there's anything you would like to add to that, obviously there's a comment section below. I encourage you to use it. And for everything else on the Rift Rivals, watch us here at cybersport.com. See you later, man.